I don't know what happened. I think they froze the video out. I couldn't see no comments. I couldn't do nothing. I don't even know if they saved it. So, I don't know what the last thing y'all heard. If somebody could type the last thing you remember hearing, I know where y'all lost me at. Okay. So, when we started going into the Russian history, we started seeing that Russia, yep. So Russia got a strong connection with they call them over in Russian terminologies, the lumpen proletariat, which is the hard working individual that struggles. It's called the proletariats. This is where you get your unions from. Your trade unions are progenitors of communist negotiations in order to balance the work environment against the government, right? I also today got a message from the Queen of Canada, and she flipped me a whole lot of signs. And that's a big ups to the brother David down in the islands, David Roberts, because he was making it happen. And she sent me very specific messages, and I have to go back over them. But I'm gonna let y'all check out how she win talking. If you don't know what she's saying, then you won't never know everything that she got in this video I'm about to show y'all is a sign, right? Everything she got is a sign. Let me see if I can see the wrong one. She was flipping signs. What the hell is? Okay. Um. Where you go? Where you go? Where you go? Where you go? Okay, this who sent me the Malachi video, right? And then I got the knock from the Queen. I'm trying to find her. So in Canada, they already did all of the shit we trying to do now. How did they do that shit? They deleted his messages after I seen them. Okay, maybe it's another page. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Everything that she's showing in here is either color coded, name flip. There's some kind of flip involved in everything she's finna go over.
Well, greetings everyone. So we had a very nice gentleman approach the RV. We are still in Stephenville.
So we're talking Blue Lodge.
Newfoundland.
In Newfoundland. I had a dog named Bear.
He gave us this jerry can of buried water. Okay?
Now she said it's called buried water. I don't know what the hell that is. So that gets my attention because it's not what do you mean buried water? Because if you try to bury water, you're gonna make a mud puddle. But just listen.
So he actually made his way. He came to ask us for an empty jerry can, and now I have this full jerry can with the buried water.
See the red ball and the blue ball?
Yeah, attached to it. And now, I have
Trump
a white hat here.
It's a music
And then
flip.
he gave us also, There Will Always Be a You.
By Donna Summer.
And then there's the 4 Fast. And then there is Toronto. And he also gave me this shirt as a queen.
So this is telling me who the message is coming
And then
from. The Queen.
this here,
Black and gold,
well,
Vice Lord colors, mellow.
and then 7, 7.
See the 7 up?
7 up.
That's
And
3 sevens
he
up.
also gave me this plaster of Paris.
Plaster of
Professionally
Paris.
done. Dry mix.
Dry mix.
Okay. And this one was given to him.
This
and he
container
has given
that she's
it to
having
me.
is going to be black.
And I have Eve's here.
You see that?
So
Now I
there
got
we are.
posts with
They
that
gave
same cup on it.
Oops.
On my on my Facebook page.
Advertisement. So I will just do this.
See the cup?
Okay. And Pizza Delight. There you are.
See, now
It
we're
was
talking
given
about
to him and he gave it to me, and he even gave these. It says structures.
Now this
Yes.
was to tell me to flip
Here
the
we go.
Malachi structures, the churches and the mosques
Structures.
and the synagogues all in Rome.
So
Now
that
she got on a red hat.
came from a local here from Stephenville,
Stephenville,
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
And he's camera shy, so we won't show him on camera. But thank you so much for all the assistance and for coming to the RV to say hello to the Queen.
See? So then she go,
Good morning, everyone. This is Queen Romana of the Kingdom of Canada, Commander-in-Chief, President, and Head of Canada. The real boss, 7. Bird, water.
7 is me, bird is the great thunderbird, Quetzalcoatl, and water is the journey. Water is the message that's coming from across the ocean. Right? Now watch this.
This one, our camera shy friend, also gave to Queen Romana, this white hat. So I'll be wearing this white hat from here on. Thank you.
So she going from a red hat to a white hat. White mean karma clear. Red lodge Scottish Rite clears the karma off of the Queen's knot to a knockback off of the Blue Lodge over the water. The water is the ocean. So all this is telling me what to do. So this is how I knew what to go over with the history of Russia. Right? So she giving me instructions in code. And I'm not even done translating all the codes, but I just gave it a quick once over and I knew what to do. My subconscious know before my conscious understand. And so then came who sent me that? Oh, maybe it's over here. Anyway, so I ended up getting into an interview, and it had Angel Bay grandson on there. So the question is, where to find the Malachi York, not the video that I gave y'all for Malachi York. Go on YouTube. It was posted 8 hours ago, live from the temple of Hotep. Hotep means divine peace. It's not just regular peace. It's like Hotep is a deeper level of peace than just the general peace. Yep. Christina been warning y'all, it's coming in hot and heavy. So the name of it, Dr. Malachi Z. York L. live in the temple of Hotep. This used to be what they called a closed meeting. The temple of Hotep held meetings for the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek and the Sufi Orders of the Green Light. And it was here in which he gave them the most information. Yep, that was Queen Ramona from Canada. And she say her friend gave her the white hat. Now, you know who give out white hats, right? So when she flipped from the red hat to the white hat, that means that on the red lodge, it was complete. The mission was accomplished. So that means that the message got across, right? So I don't got a whole lot to tell y'all. I just want to give y'all some updates and show y'all what I've been going through. So I'm gonna take a couple callers for some questions. Um, let's see what sister got to say. You said it, Christina. Don't never come back, boy. We don't talk till we know what we talking about. So if y'all catch me right, that mean I ain't know what I was talking about. Or I didn't know what to tell y'all. Hey, sweetie, how you doing? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. I just requested to join. I didn't even know. Oh, I got the lights out. But I didn't even know I was coming on. I know you two were talking, but I didn't.
That's what happened when you request to join. You might end up in the video.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, well, I just wanted to listen.
Okay, you can listen. I'll take another caller.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Miss Classy, the best to do is what she say. If I can get you in here. See if I let her in. Okay, I'm gonna try another one. Buddha Beans 9, what's up, homeboy? What's coming on through with this?
Big bro.
What's going on, God body? What's on your mind today? Where you calling from?
Man, I'm calling from Jersey, man.
Yeah, from Jersey, right? That's the land of Asada right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you?
I'm good. I'm good. What's on your mind today?
Man, that's a lot on my mind, honestly. I don't even know where to begin at.
Don't worry about the spark up so we can get there.
This wind knocking, huh? What is trying to tell us?
Which one?
The wind.
Oh, the wind?
Yeah.
The wind telling us to listen.
Yo, how
can
I learn the wind knock?
It's you already know how to do it. You just don't remember you know how to do it.
Uh-huh.
Right. So when you go back over your life, your elders was teaching you how to wind talk. You just didn't remember what they was doing. It seemed like they was doing some foolishness.
Okay.
It didn't seem like they was teaching you nothing of value. It just seemed like some foolishness that grown folks tell kids.
Okay. So
right.
So when you speak into the nature, is it telepathy or is it actually me verbally communicating English? What I think is going on.
Okay, so the more tuned in when it come in, it'll translate in your mind.
Okay.
Right? Because it's a subconscious language.
Okay.
In order for you to understand it consciously, it got to translate into whatever language you speak on earth.
Okay.
Right? So they can scramble the eggs, the language, but all of the essence of the egg still remains.
Got you.
Right? So just because they scrambled the egg didn't turn it into a chicken.
we still getting it either way.
Yeah. So since it's a scrambled egg, it's a scrambled egg. Or it's a boiled egg, it's a boiled egg. An egg is an egg.
Right.
So when you remember that and you start looking at things you have to question yourself, what the hell do this mean in spirit terminology?
Okay.
The hard part is it take a long time to learn what you call the micro details.
Okay.
Etymology of words is the biggest clue, because the etymology, especially when you study in English, the etymology in English gonna take you into every language on earth.
You saying?
They stole words from every language on the planet to make English.
Okay.
Right? Then the original English language is a North African language that was spoke by a small tribe of nomads, pygmies. They called them Orisha. When they got to Europe and Ireland, they called them Orisha land, and Orisha became Irish when it translated into European tongue.
Sheesh.
Right? So when you're talking about the Irish, you're talking about the Orisha. That's why when you study the Vadum, there's only one pale-skinned person in the Vadum of renown, and her name is Maman Brigitte. And when you study her history, they tell you she's redhead from Ireland. Right?
And these are our people?
But what they don't tell you is she's called a moon child. Those who are called the moon child are only born incrementally at certain periods of time for the purpose of giving birth to certain people. In other words, a prepared vessel to carry a prepared vessel. So mama got to make a daughter that can carry the energy frequency of something greater than what mama was. So she started rewiring her fetus daughter to be able to carry a child of a higher frequency than either one of them could carry on their own.
All right, so is that the same thing as a crystal, a indigo, or a rainbow child?
Right, so that goes to the starseed. Which starseed generation is you from? Those that we call from the Black Power generation, the reason they call it that because they're Onyx children. The Onyx children is the ones who spring from the darkest of the dark. Right? And what we mean by that is they can walk through the darkest of alleys with no fear.
That sounds like a
Right?
chaos being.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. It's a chaos being, but the chaos is under control.
OG status.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is why you had all of the leaders. It was more leaders brought to us in the 60s than any other area in our history. All of them got cut down. Only a few exceptions. Those who was wise enough to outmaneuver the beast.
So, all right. I don't even know where to begin at. I just, what do you think we should do as far as our generation, Crystal Child? Because I'm 99. You feel what I'm saying? I know I'm a young man in this. I'm the young generation in this, and I'm ready to do what I need to do. Positive.
Your job at this point, and those in your age bracket, when y'all get a hold of this real shit, hey, bro, come listen to what bruh saying. This is us. This is what we've been looking for.
Right.
This how we get from under this oppressor and get to the top of the pyramid.
Right.
Right. We don't want to be the foundation of the pyramid. We didn't held this motherfucker up long enough. It's time for us to now be at the top where we can get some sunlight. We've been in the dark too fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's each one, teach one is the order of the day.
Man,
right?
These motherfuckers want cars, man. They want.
Well, what they gonna do with cars when gas is $20? Gas about to be $20 a gallon. So tell them keep on getting your cars. Because you're going to spend more on gas in a month than you did on your car in a year.
It ain't adding up.
No, because they ain't got enough sensibilities to phase that shit out. We don't need gasoline or oil.
Nope.
Right? But and as long as they believe we need it, we need it.
Right. And that's the fucked up part.
But it's so much hidden technology, dog. They got to do it in Africa right now. Got a car run on electricity, a helicopter run on electricity, and it's all perpetual energy.
Mm.
You don't have to charge that motherfucker up. You using it charges it up.
Mm. Mm.
You know, that's just one thing. We got everybody heard about the healing beds, but they don't know about the healing chamber. It's like sitting in the sauna or a steam room, but when you come out that motherfucker, you feel 10 years younger. Because it's healing parts of your body you don't even know sick yet.
That sounds like
Right?
something.
At the earliest stages.
When you said that, that made me think about, I don't know if I'm saying the guy that actually did it right, but I believe Nikolai Tesla did it. He made like a box and it was breaking down the cancer cells or whatnot. If he was just sitting inside the box, I guess he was saying like the magnetism in the box.
Yeah, he is what's called an orgone accumulator.
I'm up here sweating.
Let me show you what it looked like. Or orgone box. You know, I like to show y'all what this shit be.
So it was the guy that did that. It was Nikolai.
I don't think it was Tesla, but the box you're talking about, it's called an orgone accumulator box.
It said something about it was breaking down the cancer cells. It was breaking down all types of crazy stuff.
This is what it looked like.
Oh yeah, that looked crazy. It was
Right.
like
So this is like more advanced in modern medicine, but the healing chamber is this on steroids.
Mm.
So when you study what's my man name from the Meta Center? Can't think of his name. It'll come to me in a minute. But he talks about aura energy. Aura energy is accumulated ether, which takes us to us as the people. We are accumulated ether.
And that's our aura.
Organic to the earth. We spring from the earth like a tree.
Mm.
Right? And the seed of who he is in the woman. It's called mitochondria. Right? So when we accumulate the molecules around us in first creation, then if something interrupt that process of life, we start a cycle of rebirth, trying to reform the molecules into different elements, and the elements into the original DNA sequence of certain beings.
Is that evolution?
Those that they call, it's not evolution, it's going backwards. Right? Because they shattered you in the beginning. Now at the end, you got to put yourself back together.
Okay.
Right? So it's reverse engineering by understanding the mechanics of the DNA. See, the reason why I don't believe in racism is because we all organic nanotechnology. Ain't none of us the body, but all of us is what's the animating force of the body. No matter what you look like. How much of the good shit you got in there depends on how good your heart is to other people.
Hmm.
When you get to God status, you become indifferent to the plight of humans, to the extent where you don't want nothing to do with this shit. Until Big Mama say do something about it, then you have to do what you know according to what you know. Some people, all they know how to do is put horseshoes on horses. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So with the right amount of gratitude, that becomes a spiritual training technique. Everything that we think we doing, whether we clubbing at night, whether we smoking crack in the crack house, whatever we doing, even if we don't want it to be, Big Mama gonna use it to teach us a lesson.
Right.
This is a university Earth. This is where the gods come to play and discover themselves from a state of amnesia to a state of realization. It's a process that takes place. It just so happened that you had some evolved beings that decided that they was better than us, and they introduced that concept to the people of Earth. And we play out this drama as divide and conquer. The drama is repeated in politics, religion, sex, and war is the greatest culmination of the drama playing itself out, right? Because we trying to remember what happened to us. And once we remember what happened to us, we start telling each, hey, bro, wake up. This what happened to us. They tricked the shit out of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? David Copperfield didn't make no fucking elephant disappear or no DC-10. That's an illusion. They played a trick on our mind. Wake up.
Right.
We done with this shit.
Right.
Right? And when we start becoming effective and teaching others effectively, they become effective. Then it's like they can kill me now. I done put enough information out. They can kill me now. It don't even matter from this point on. I'm done. It's enough shit where to wake a motherfucker up if you want to be woke. But if he don't want to be woke, I can't produce enough information. I can't produce enough receipts to wake a dead motherfucker up that don't want to wake up.
Right. So is that
all
an
of these
objective though?
motherfuckers?
Like is the people that want to be woken up necessarily on that path of already being waking up, and the people that sleep, we should already leave them? Because I feel as though the folks that be sleep, I'm just knocking on a dead horse. Like they don't want to.
Like so, it's like being in the penitentiary. Everybody in the penitentiary don't wake up or go to bed at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it's enough information available, it's still more legwork that need to be done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, which pretty soon I'm gonna have to touch down into Chicago, right? I'm working on that now.
Okay.
You know, so once I touch Chicago, I gotta make connections across the 5 and the 6. Anybody from Chicago know what I'm talking about, but from outside of the land, they don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
You know.
We trying to know. At least I'm trying to know. I know the people that's like me trying to know too.
That's all you gotta do is try to find those who vibe like you.
Shit, it's hard. Look,
No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Look, I have but much confidence in these people waking up, seeing their dead state, as I do of a mummy coming out of one of them sarcophagi getting up.
Mm.
They was the same amount of dead to me.
Basically.
But I've been getting so much feedback. People was like, you took a blind spot away. You allowed me to see something. Keep doing what you're doing, right? I don't like doing this. I don't like social media. I never liked social media.
Yeah, I can feel that.
But social media is the path of least resistance to reach the most of our people across all lands. Now, if I was to get a radio show and try to go mainstream, then I have to fight with the man.
Right.
Unequipped. Without my clans. By myself. I'm cool with it. I fight the motherfuckers. But it's gonna be a losing battle without the clans.
Right.
So I can't even go clean this shit up like I want to clean it up, because the clans ain't united sufficient across the land. Once the clans is united sufficiently, from motherfucking Maine to Arizona, from Alaska to motherfucking Florida, then we ready.
Right.
And to then, I could just sit here and keep putting out information, hoping that somebody else pass information in order for us to use the greatest advertising method known to man called word of mouth. This shit a wrap. We just beating on the dead horse trying to go back to some shit called normal that wasn't normal to begin with.
Damn, this shit real. It makes me mad too.
Yeah. Don't get mad. Get wise. Because what you gonna do when you get done getting mad? So you got to get past the mad part. That's how they was capitalizing on our rage. They even made a whole fucking thing called Black Rage about us protesting against being oppressed. Then they took it from Black Rage in the 80s and 90s. Now it's some shit called Black Identity Extremists that they can't even define what the fuck it is.
Some bullshit.
Right. So our goal now is say, fuck the anger. We ain't emotionally masturbating. We see what's going on. They look like us, but they not us. They came over Scottish Rite Tudor conquistadors. Right? They tried to usurp the royal families of Europe, and they found out they couldn't usurp them over there because they came over here for refuge. When they came over here for refuge, then they thought they had free reign of terror over Europe until the Europeans kicked them out. So when they kicked them out, they created some side effects, some shit called a Spanish Inquisition, right? And then it sent some guy named Columbus on a journey across the water, right? And Columbus was funded by Moorish Zionist Jews under the by way of the crown, what we call Khazarians. The Khazarians' stronghold was a place that you call today Ukraine. The Khazarians are the ones who call themselves Hasidic Jews. But if you look in the tribes of Israel, you're not going to find Hasidic, you're not going to find Khazarian, you're not going to find Sephardi, and you're not going to find Ashkenazi. They not one of the tribes of Israel. Who in the fuck is these motherfuckers in? Right? So when you go study secret relation between the blacks and Jews, your eyebrows started to raise because some of the shit that the so-called Jews was doing, they told us we did that shit.
Mm-hmm.
What is they saying? Right now, this is a compilation of Jewish writings. Then don't fuck around and get the Encyclopedia Judaica. I got it. And you really gonna be brain fucked. Now, the most prominent of the so-called Jews got nappy hair, but they got pale skin. Make this shit make sense. How in the fuck that happened? How you a pale-skinned Jew with nappy hair? They say that's because they from the Middle East. But the people that they calling Jews that they patriating to the Middle East ain't from the Middle East. They from Sephardi from Spain, the Ashkenazi from Spain and Portugal, and the motherfucking Khazarians is from what we call in the day the Ukraine.
You got the whole drop on
Them, look, dog, I'm watching these motherfuckers. Noble Drew Ali said get a good Moorish education. I wanted to get a good indigenous education. I never considered myself a Moor, but why is my chief telling me get a good Moorish education? What the fuck? And why is he calling us some shit called Moorish American? What the fuck is that shit?
Yeah.
In the background and tracing of the steps. Right? So they want to know what happened to Master Farah Muhammad. They produced this Punjabi dude who's supposed to have been Master Farah Muhammad, but that wasn't Master Farah Muhammad. The real Master Farah Muhammad, Fuad Abdul Wali Muhammad, was murdered the same way Noble Drew Ali was. He was beat to death by these people that they call themselves Zionist Moors. They morphed into an organization called the Jewish Defense League, paramilitary branch of the ADL, Anti-Defamation League. This is why they kick Whoopi off TV. How the fuck they kick her off TV? She's a fucking Jew. Goldberg. Right? Well, how they kick her off the show for saying that Jew was about hate on hate and it wasn't about race? That shit true. It's about how people hate people. It don't got nothing to do with race. Because when you hate people, any excuse will do to fill the bill to assassinate the character or to murder the people. I know who they is, I know where they came from, and I know they don't belong here, and I know they got to go.
ASAP.
So they waiting on us to reclaim our shit. They already conceded defeat. That's not an issue. That's not an argument anymore. They didn't know that this would be the nigga that they was allowing in to determine if I could see who they is separate from who we is. Right? So they laughed at me because I ain't had no alphabets behind my name. Try to start whooping they motherfucking ass with the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Putting them in the stranglehold of truth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hitting them with the hips off of motherfucking receipts. Right? Beating them in the head with a bag of nickels. Now they want to know where this motherfucker at, why we ain't killed him 40 years ago. Look, dog, I got the letters where I debated with the Moors back in the early 2000s. Crushed them. And it wasn't even my opinion that I crushed him, because one of the brothers that was there with him when he found out who I was say, bruh, his name Hardiel. Hardiel said, you crushed the whole temple by yourself. They was having study group around the letters. All I was doing was asking questions. I hadn't even went on the attack. I was just asking out of curiosity. Where's the flag of the Bays? Set it off. Because if they can't tell you where the flag of the Bays is and what it looked like, they fronting. They can't tell you the history of that Moorish flag because they can't tell us that's the oldest flag known to man. That motherfucking star ain't been on that motherfucker 150 years. The 6 or the 5. And both of them been used at different times. So all the time what they told us in the Bible was the facts. The Jacobins. This who they call themselves, the Jacobins. And they really
Who's that?
This should go all the way back to ancient Kemet, to what they call the priest wars. Right? In the priest wars, it was the Egyptian priests versus the priests from the land of Anpu, what we call it Kenya today. This shit ain't hard to find if you just read a couple books on Egypt and tell you about because that's some of the most fascinating parts of the Egyptian history for the historian is studying the priest wars and the conjure and how they use the conjure to war against each other.
What's the conjuring? What's that?
Voodoo. Who got the strongest grasp for the use of who can read nature the best is what it boiled down to. Voodoo. Who can read nature the best? That means who do Big Mama love the most? That's all it means. Big Mama only gonna allow you to see what she wants you to see. Right? Then she gonna put you on a mission to go out and become her advocate. Go tell him what Big Mama wants you to, baby. Don't worry about it. You don't know what it is yet, but you'll know when you grow up. Straight from my Big Mama mouth. So the fuck I know what you want me to tell these people. And here I am. She told me, my mama told me. Now here I am telling y'all the shit that I didn't even know what I was supposed to be telling you. In order to get us all back to Big Mama house.
Spitting facts. I know it ain't no cap in your rap, bro. When you talk, it's something that you can actually feel, and it's not like superficial. It's not like you just grasping and pulling different random things out the air and trying to put shit together. It's nah. You was actually a man that put your brain down and did the studying, and you did half the work that we really don't even have to really even do on some stuff. Like it's good for us to do the work and understand it for our self-perspective, but for the fact that you out here and you preaching it the way you preaching it, bro, I respect you, bro.
And not only that, because a lot of us want to be armed enough to be able to stand on the truth and tell it and be able to tell you where to find it. Most of us don't know that part. Even if we know a little bit of the truth, we don't know enough of it to argue the point without looking like a jackass.
Right.
It's like these are excuse me.
Stick your ear.
I'm over here trying to get right to it. I'm over here. This shit hard as hell. Hard as hell to
Look,
break down.
there's a good example. If you go back and study just this part, you'll see all of the chiefs always required anybody come on to talk to them, they had to smoke the peace pipe. Everybody know the peace pipe was full of marijuana.
Okay.
But marijuana, you can get to the truth. You can sync with a person. So when you having a conversation with you, they can't lie to you.
Off the weed. You said off the
Yep.
marijuana you can sync to a person. That's what you said.
The masters can read their mind when they get high. That's why they can't keep they dirt a secret, and they won't smoke no weed with you.
Shit, that's me. I'm always
the only
reading the
way.
room.
Yeah, and you can tell too by the way they move through the room. Right? You already know from what you 30 years old.
Who, me?
Yeah, 20.
I'm about to be 23. I'm 22. Don't put me up there.
Oh no, it's the reason I said that.
Hold up.
Even at your
I'm about
age,
to turn my fan on. I'm up here cooking, but I'm listening.
even at your age, you done been to the club and you seen the nigga walking through the club and knew he was on bullshit.
Right.
You done been in the church. Look, you done been in the church and you look at a nigga and say, I don't even know what that nigga doing in here. He must be in here to try to find one of these girls. Because he don't believe none of this shit. Right? So you get you get experienced in seeing them. The more places you been, you can tell the ones that stick out, they ain't us.
So when I do pick up that bad vibe, I'm picking up that bad guy.
Yeah. You know that they ain't like you. You will look at them and you'll be like, that motherfucker ain't like me.
And it's not that bad vibe that I'm picking up out of pride and ego, but it's that bad vibe that I'm picking up as in like, why is this guy moving?
Because he's a rotten motherfucker in relation to us.
Right.
Now he ain't a rotten motherfucker to his own people.
Right.
You got to keep that in mind. This is the hardest part for us to get. They love the shit out of each other like we love the shit out of each other. They just express it different. And because they express it different, they tell us that they not us.
So that's the sign.
Right?
That's
the great. Yeah, that's the alarm system.
Gotcha.
That's the alarm.
See, I know I wasn't.
You ever see a fine ass chick? Hey, you ever see a fine ass chick and you look at her?
What about it?
I don't know what's going on, but you freezing up a lot.
You can't hear me?
You cutting in and out.
I am.
All right, I'm gonna take another caller. I got a million book recommendations. You just got to know what topic. Oh, you just want me to finish what I was saying about the fine ass chick. What's going on, God body? What's going on with you?
Not too much, are you, man?
Taking it easy. Where you calling from?
Indianapolis.
That's what's up, Indiana.
Yeah. So I just stumbled across your page maybe 1 or 2 days ago. One of my guys sent me over some info, and I really couldn't stop watching your videos ever since. And there's aspects of what you were talking about tonight that I just kind of wanted clarification on.
Mm-hmm.
So with the gentleman you were just speaking with, you made mention of uh, being around individuals that have a different frequency or vibration than you. You said they look like us, but they're not us. What is the not us aspect?
They're not from our bloodlines. They're not even from Earth. They're not native nowhere on Earth. They look like us, but they're not native to the planet at all.
Okay. So what is their origin?
They came with okay, so now we're going back into ancient Babylon, into the arrival of the Anunnaki. Right? Those who were organic to the earth, they were synced to the frequency of two of the Anunnaki, synced to the earth frequency. One was named Inanna, who we call Isis, Queen of Heaven and Earth. Right? And it was Enki. Enki mean Lord of the Earth, Earth Lord. Right? And then his half brother, which is Isis, Inanna's full brother, tried to pull rank and brought his children here, and they wasn't synced to the earth. Their genetics is kind of different than ours. Right? And so this is what the story about the two brothers. It's always a sibling rivalry and everything. That's Enki and Enlil, everywhere you look.
Yeah.
Enlil is who you call Yahweh in the Bible. He is the God of Jacob, but he's not the God of Esau. Right? Now, Abraham had two sons. He had Esau and Jacob. He had Ishmael and Isaac.
Yeah.
Right? And then Isaac had two sons, which was Esau and Jacob. All right. Now, Isaac was going blind. So when it came time for him to cross over, he gave his birthright to Esau because Esau was the rightful heir. But something happened. Esau and Jacob's mother dressed Esau up like he was Jacob. Jacob was from Enlil line. Esau is from Enki line. Okay, so now she didn't want the earthborn to receive the birthright. She wanted the Skywalkers, the ones who travel from galaxy to galaxy with no place to steal the birthright, so they'll have a homeland so they can stop being drifters through galaxies. So they settled on Earth, and this is the stories to keep the sibling rivalries conscious in our mind. It comes up in all of the stories. That's because Big Mama gonna keep bringing it up until one of us figure it out. Okay, now in the New Testament, it play out as Judas and Jesus, right? But what they're not telling you is they fraternal twins, and Jesus is Isis, and Isis is a female, right? Now, all of the words of the red is not one person; it's two people. Because everywhere she went, she took her son with her. He was Mama's right-hand man. The story of Isis and Horus. It's in the Ananuan hieroglyphics now. You see how the information is broke down into pieces. This piece in this language and this culture go with this piece. This piece in this language and this culture go with that piece. So now you're jumping all over the place trying to put the puzzle together. Right? Now this is called the game of the gods. In the game of the gods, it's only one of the gods that was never allowed to play. In Norse mythology, they call him Loki. In China, they call him the Monkey King, Sun Wukong. In India, he's Ram in the Ramayana, the exiled priest, which was the prince, heir to the throne. And when you get in the Middle East, he Nimrod. When you get over here, he Quetzalcoatl. Right? So when you put them all together, you be like, wait a minute, all of it, these are Thoth incarnations. Because they all got Thoth symbol. Right? And the symbol is always the same. The Monkey King with the band on his head because they wanted to restrict his mind power, but they couldn't restrict him. In the Middle East, they say Nimrod was the only mortal that the gods feared. Right? So when you go through the Egyptian stories, you'll find that the king of the gods, Anu, was only beholden to one, which was called the earth god, which was Thoth. Right? So he is the one who's made all of this shit. All of them start, y'all got to fix this shit. The problem came in a little over 15,000 years ago with the last of the Anunnaki Wars, or what they call in India the Brahmanas Wars. During the Brahmanas Wars, Thoth was like, fuck this bullshit, get these motherfuckers out of here if I have to tear it all up. And he hit the planet with something called the Planet Destroyer. The Gandiva is what it's called in Hindi. Right? It's a planet annihilator weapon. It's a nuclear bomb of massive proportions. But it was to get rid of the parasites. So when you read in the Emerald Tablets, he say, well, I had got rid of the Dark Brothers, but the priests brought them back down here. Right? What is he talking about? Because originally, when Atlantis fell, the great Atlan, which was part of the ancient Tartarian civilization, it was the capital. That was over here. So when that land fall, it was a war then that caused the fall. They didn't just fall, but this war involved people from other planets in the solar system, is why some of them is totally annihilated. Like Mars. Mars was a bustling planet with an atmosphere similar to Earth. It just never got cold on Mars. You got to be able to live in sub-Saharan Africa with no cover to survive on ancient Mars. Right? Because the atmosphere is different. The humidity was different. Right? And you got darker tans on Mars than you did on Earth. Right? So the history of the universe becomes the history of the planet replayed out in smaller yet smaller cycles until it's played out in family dynamics. Until one of us figure out how to fix the problem. Right? And then you start seeing where all of this stuff fit in the grand scheme, what they call the great work. Making any sense to you at all? You familiar with any of this?
I'm definitely digesting it. I got a ton of questions, man. So bear with me. So earlier you mentioned that Earth is used as like a training ground for the gods, so to speak.
It's a university.
Kind of,
University Earth is what it was.
as you stated. Yeah.
So look, when Enlil and his kids came, it was the equivalent of the kids coming from the school for the derelicts. And they, all of them high schoolers, and they come to a junior high school, all of these high school derelicts because they school closed down. Now they got to come to our school, right? And they don't play by our rules. They don't give a fuck about our rules. They want to do a shit the way they want to do it, and every time they do, they fuck some shit up. This is why all the water poisoned and all the dirt getting poisoned and the air getting poisoned from them. They just fuck shit up. They don't have no regard for the order of righteousness. So they the guys who believe only what they want is the only thing that matters. They feel entitled and deserving even if they don't do the work in a deserving manner. We the ones that say we don't want it if we don't earn it. I don't want to suck and leech off nobody. I want to get up and go get it like a man.
Right.
They don't want to do that. They want you to go get it like a man and then give it to them. Right? You see it play out in the family. You got family members that think just because they related to you that you owe them something. Motherfuckers you probably ain't never seen let you hit the lottery. They gonna come out the woodworks.
Right.
Right? Why is they coming out with the hand out? Because they feel like because y'all related, you owe them something. Where we don't get on like that. We feel like because we related, nigga, teach me what you know so I can do it myself. That's how we get on.
Right.
They don't get on like that. They don't want to learn how to do it. They want you to do it for them and give you the reward. That's why we in slavery. That's the whole concept of slavery comes from that shit. So when you training guys how to live with a noble character, then I guess you only as great as your adversary. And that's why they say to respect your enemy, not love your enemy. That's the translation. You're supposed to respect your enemy. Because only if he is capable of doing what you're capable of doing can he be truly classified as your enemy. Otherwise, he's just a speed bump. But if he can get out there like you do, work his fingers to the bone the same way you do, right? But he want to undercut you. He don't want you to do it. Then you have to be concerned about that. Because now you have one that's entitled that feel like that he don't want you to work for your own shit. And he cut your legs from under you to interrupt your progress. So you got to always be vigilant, and you can't tell who they is by skin color. You only can tell who they is by attitude and energy.
Yeah.
You know, it's a certain way we move. We step in love first. They step in selfishness first. They ego driven. We drive our ego. Right? So our elders taught us to refine the ego so that your higher self can be more present. Their elders taught them to embellish the ego, and the ego will supply all your hedonistic desires. And some of them is at the expense of us.
Okay. Take you a different direction. I came into some information that stated that the original language of man was Paleo-Hebrew.
No, that's bullshit. We originally spoke telepathy, first and foremost.
Okay.
We originally didn't use written words. That's Enlil and them shit. We used written symbols, but we didn't use written words. The words is breakdowns of symbols. It's a conjure. Every word, every letter in the alphabet had to be created by magicians to charge the alphabet individually, letter by letter. When you know how it's done, then it nullifies the effect that it has on you.
Interesting.
Because now you know what's driving behind it. It can't control you because you understand it. As long as you don't understand it, you're subject to it. In the God mind, you are inquisitive of everything that tries to control you. You want to know the nature of it. Right. And this is how you discover your true adversaries. Studying the nature of things is studying the netter or the God behind it. And once you realize the patterns become redundant, the MO is the same. It doesn't change, haven't changed since when you read in Anunnaki tablets about Enlil's character, personality, and disposition, and you read about the disposition, character, and personality, the ones running this world, it's going to be the same characteristics, the same traits. When you read about Enki's personality and character, he was a fucking horn dog lover. We call them players who like to dress fancy and please the girl. That's all he wanted to do. And he was a hard worker so that he can facilitate those needs. Right? And Inanna, she just wanted everybody to love everybody. She wanted them sisters. Can't we just love each other? And this is how we get into shit with her and her extra love shit and inviting her brother half a fag ass down here. Right? So the last time he made himself physically seen was in Africa, in Kenya. He came and told him that he was Maitreya. But it's a pattern that tells you who he is. And the pattern is they got to always honor a lady that they call Mary. Hail Mary, Mother of God, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck that mean? Hail Mary, Mother of God. What the fuck that mean? How's she the Mother of God?
Right.
She must have been God first. Right? But what do Mary mean? Rebellious woman. So the stanza properly quoted is, to hell with you, rebellious woman, Mother of God.
Oh, wow.
It's the assassination of the divine feminine, the great mother. This is why we've been under a patriarchal homosexual system that exploits children. That's in Leo. It's in his character.
Wow.
It's always been in his character all the way back to the Sumerian tablets. He show up as Set in Egypt. He want to challenge Osiris for the throne. Who the fuck is Osiris? Lord of the perfect black. What the fuck is that shit? The only place where you find the perfect black is in deep space. So the Lord of the perfect black has to come from deep space. So we look up, we see him as represented as the Orianos, the Orion sky. So now it's telling us, study the stars now. Why in the fuck we need to study the stars? What that shit got to do with Earth? Because the nature is following the reverse flip in real time of what's taking place in the stars. We trying to alter that shit, but we trying to stop we trying to hold back a tidal wave with our bare hands. That's it, nothing else. This shit can't be stopped. And as long as we each continue to teach until we start reaching out more and more of us, that's when we see how big this shit really is. This shit is over with, dog. When the Anunnaki come, they come in to get Enlil's children and take them off world because they don't belong here in the first place. Right? This is what they coming for. They're not taking everybody from here because everybody ain't supposed to leave. But once they take everybody from here, the energy not going to be the same. Because then the Sibyls will be back functioning as a Tesla unit, what they call them, Tesla coils around the Earth. In some shit, in the frequency vibration, 444, the angel frequency of the women, in the 432 of the Earth is going to mellow out at a cool 440. It's the balance between the humans walking the Earth in love and the Earth vibrating to match the frequency. So now we gonna get some frequency called an A-tone, right? And an A-tone can be found on the musical scale. In Arabic, it's called the ain, right? So then you learn and you practice pronouncing the ain. And then you match the frequency to the 444, and then you bounce it off the 432, you end up at 440. That's because of the what they call it, the displacement of energy, right? Because energy doesn't burn fluid and clean until it's at a perfect balance, right? And between 432 and 440 is 8, and 8 is the number for a queen.
Okay.
Right? The symbol is the bee. That's why a bee and the queen, and the bumblebee all look alike. Right? So to see the queen between 832 and 444, she land on the 440, and the 44 is an angel number. So she becomes the earth angel, the angel of the earth. These are the daughters of Isis. Right? And when you understand who all of the daughters of Isis was in history, then you get to understand that the Jesus story is about Cleopatra. And the part they don't want you to know is that she had a son, because he was the rightful heir. But Cleopatra disappeared under the Roman onslaught. She dipped. Where'd she go? They ain't got her tomb. They don't know where she buried at. But they know where Mark Antony is buried at. Right? They know where Antonio is buried at. Whatever the fuck his name was. Right? They know where they buried at, but they can't, and they say she committed suicide with an adder in her bed chamber. In other words, she went in her bedroom, laid down, and let a snake bite her. Right? So the snake bite represents 2 puncture wounds. Where do that come in familiar at? A vampire, right?
Yeah.
And another name for a vampire is lichen, right? That's because they like kin, but they ain't kin.
Oh wow.
And they call us the werewolves, right? Because we used to wear the fucking wolves as cloaks when we go hunting in our hunting parties. Find it anywhere in the world and tell me where you find it at. Look anywhere on the planet and say, where do you find people that wore the wolves? And you're going to be right over here. Right? So
Okay.
you got all these
Yeah.
motherfuckers telling us these bits and pieces of these different stories, but we confused. Because they take 2 compound words, put them together, make it into one word to confuse the mind. But when you understand how the mind works, it's going to put everything in the order it go, because the brain is the foundation for the computer.
Right. Okay. So 2 more things, if you could break down for me. You mentioned the Tartarian Empire,
Mm-hmm.
and in a video I was watching the other day, you mentioned mud floods, or the young lady you were speaking with mentioned mud floods. As far as like resets and things of that nature, uh, can you kind of expound on that just a little bit? Like
Yeah,
the
so
technology that.
the technology was global. None of this shit is new. Cell phones ain't new. We just remembered how to put them together, and then they gave the credit to somebody else. Right? So remember, we recycle souls. We've been here before, we'll be back. Right? So all of the stuff that we ever did, we still can do. We just got to be able to remember what we ever did. This is why they cut you off from the history, because if they cut you off from the history, you can't remember which one of the gods you was, therefore you don't know what your power is. And if you don't know what your power is, you can't use no power. It's the rule of the universe, because in order to maintain order, you got to have a cap on anything that's out of control. So the chaos being got to learn how to control his own inner chaos. This is why most of us go crazy in the waking up process. Because we lose track of the fact that we supposed to go through the chaos and we supposed to not take sides with the information, because that's how you get confused and driven to insanity. Only if
Okay,
you
so
take
explain the waking up process and the chaos, like in detail.
it's like doing shadow work, right? In doing shadow work, you confronting the darkest parts of your own self, right? And you using everybody you encounter as your mirror to look at what you ain't doing, right? So you need to find out where you weak at, where you strong at. Most people can't take critical analysis because if anybody else analyzes and they have a full-fledged breakdown, that's how you know they never analyze themselves. But the person that analyzes himself before he get offended, he say for a minute, like, did I ever ask myself, do I do that? Yeah, I did. I don't do that. No, you got me fucked up. Now he can't even get mad because he's informed that he already been through that shit and you can't falsely accuse him. Right? This shadow work. Shadow work is confronting all that shit. Your murderous tendencies. Right? You the same amount of dangerous, but now you even more dangerous because you got that shit under control. Right? So you went from being a broad spectrum light ray into a focused laser beam.
Yeah.
So all you doing is harnessing your own energy and getting rid of the shit that you don't want in your character, personality. And if you can't get rid of it, it's permanently part of you, who you are. That's who you are. And if it's some rotten shit that you into and you can't stop doing that rotten shit, that's because you was a rotten motherfucker in that area. You might be good in 99 other places, but this ain't one. You know what I mean? So you got to know your weaknesses as well as your strengths. Right? Some of us avoid pedophilia not because we not pedophiles. Some of us avoid pedophilia because we don't want the public stigma. Long as you keep your ass away from my kids, you all right. Right? But the ones who don't care about the stigma continue to molest children. And the ones of us that don't believe in that shit continue to want to bust their head. Right? So now I'm stuck in the dynamic of bust his head. But do I think I'm better than him because I'm better in that aspect? But that motherfucker might go feed a motherfucker that I wouldn't throw a motherfucking rock in their direction in order to feed him. You know what I mean? So doing the shadow work, you got to come to terms with all that shit. Am I cool with if I got to kill everybody in the house and somebody in the house is 5 years old? You know what I'm saying? Some of us can't do it. But some of us can kill everybody in the goddamn house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know which one of them motherfuckers you is until you put in that position, then you can't say who the other motherfucker ain't. Because you haven't done that shadow work in that area. You haven't confronted that darkest side of yourself. Most niggas is tender dick.
Say that one more time.
Most niggas is tender dick. Right? They talk all that gangster ass shit. And then they resort to domestic violence because they can't control the emotions that come from having a penis stroked. That's shadow work too. That's shadow work too. Right? It don't mean you got to be celibate your whole life, but you got to have some type of self-control about your sexuality. And you got to face that. Right? You have to come to terms to what you like. Not what I told you to like. What are you naturally attracted to without nobody telling you it's attractive? Right? And 9 out of 10, that's not going to even matter in the end, because when you find the one that they call your twin flame, it's going to be looking for love in all the wrong places and finding it where you did never think it to be. In the person that you never expected it would come. Right? And this is the shit this is why love makes no mental sense. Right? But when you learn to sync your mental senses to understand your love responses, this self-control at the highest levels.
Okay. One thing that you just you mentioned a few minutes ago, you said that we're recycled souls, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
we've been here before and we'll be back, right?
Yeah.
So, just my view on this particular system, like there's a lot of fucked up shit that happens, right? And I don't, I agree with you. You know, we've been here, recycled souls, but is there a point of elevation to where you graduate from this university and move on to God
Most of us
status?
most of us come back because we choose to help train newer souls. The ones of us who don't want to come back, they don't come back. But they gotta aid before you can leave permanently. You got to aid in the restoration of your family tree. You can't leave your bloodline lacking from your lack of work. So if you don't want to come back, you gotta train one of the members of your family, either physically or spiritually, how to be a successful replacement for you. It's the job that you gotta always train your replacement to be more successful than you was. Right? And then that makes the bloodline always and beholding to your honor and your respect. Why? Because the student can never outshine the master. And if you raise one that is strong enough mentally, emotionally to withstand the onslaught of the world, to clean up the family tree by becoming the best product of the family, the golden apple, so to speak. Then when you leave in high honors. It's like it's like graduating cum laude, right? You the one. You did your job for your family, and then you don't have to come back. But most of us are here as instructors, trainers, teachers, right? And we let the students fuck everything up, trying to figure it out. Then we come back and we tell them how to figure it out.
So, is there a way, like, how do you get in tune with your past life, and as far as like the regression of those memories and understanding what your original purpose was, so to speak, and making sure that your current path is in alignment with that graduation, so to speak.
Your original purpose is going to be listen to your childhood script. Was you the one always saying, can I help? Or was you the one to say, I can do it? Or was you the one that always said, leave me alone? Because in your life script tell you your original purpose. I was a can you help baby. Till I started being scorned and ridiculed for helping. Now I don't want to help a motherfucker. But I still want to help.
I mean, you're doing work out here, so definitely appreciate the info. Last question, I'm gonna hop off and just observe from this point. But you spoke of like wind knocks, and there's several different type of knocks. I'm not familiar with that.
Get this book.
What is,
I mean, this movie, and I think it's called Wind Talkers. It's a movie about the World War II, and the soldiers that they got, the Navajo wind talking soldiers, and it'll give you some insight into what I'm talking about.
okay, I'll definitely check it out.
For sure.
I appreciate you. Yeah, allow me to join. Appreciate the info, man.
Ain't no
Take care of
problem.
yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see, find one of the sisters. Hey.
She's King.
What's going on with you? How you doing? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Oracle Park in Calicia out here. I got the kids in the back. Baby, say hi.
How you?
We're driving. How you doing, Chief King, Lightning Rod, Wakion,
I'm
Don Don?
I'm just crooked walking across the land trying to galvanize every man, woman, and child from now until now on.
Hi, yay, hi, yay. So you doing the same what we've been doing, huh?
Yes.
Well, I wanted to tap in
What?
because the brother just now he led us right back to it. But speaking about the wind talking and wind knocking, when Queen of Canada spoke to you, I read everything backwards in my spirit. In the beginning of the video, she was talking about blue, black. And then the end of the video, she was talking about red to white on the head, on the crown. And what my spirit read was that, you know, it, like you said, it's been done already. It's done. The Redskins won. The people of the land won. And the codes of black and white being, you know, of nobility and black being dead, all that. She flipped it. And she was speaking to you when she said 7 bird water, because 7 is the lightning rod, and the bird is the thunderbird. And so, yeah, I could hear everything she was saying, and it made me rejoice inside, because sometimes we forget that everything's happening at once. Like when we talk about quantum and the dimensions of existence, like for some, the nuclear bomb already went off because that's the timeline that they thought they were on or they bought into. And for others, for those of us who are here and present, you know, everything that you have spoken have not returned void, including the 3 kings walking on the land. So sometimes it's far-fetched for us to conceive of, like, you know, King Tuki being on ice and whatnot, but it really all depends on which frequency we're vibrating at. And so the higher we vibrate, then interdimensionally, that's what our experience becomes. So what I heard her say, in essence, was it's already been done and it's already won. So my assignment now, probably like yours, is just like, how do we train up these babies, you know? How do we continue to help them to lighten their frequency so that they can live in the land of the living and, you know,
First,
walk this
that
out with them?
that's the question, right? So, what we do with the children next? We're gonna have what we call children developmental programs.
Okay.
We're getting away all the way away from what we call school.
Yes.
Ain't no more school. When the
Yes.
system flip, all of the schools is closing.
Right.
The buildings, the buildings can be repurposed,
Yes.
but even the form that they in is designed to trap the mind.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. The next thing is the women gonna have to determine which women gonna be workers in the community and which one of them gonna be domestics.
Yes.
The domestics is gonna include your doula center training, your child development program as instructors and overseers. So it's going to be always multiple eyes on the children at all times. The women is going to be in control of that. That's in the clans,
Yes.
right? We got a whole different curriculum like this. We teaching that Professor X School of the Gifted shit children how to see with blindfolds on.
Yes. Right, babies? We already on that over here. We didn't even put them in. They told me what they wanted to. I mean, your kids will tell you. I let them try it one day, and they wanted out of there so quickly. They picked up on everything, all of the vibrations that, you know, the institution has. And my son Keen right here, he's 8. He said, Mama, it was weird. She treated the teacher. She treated me like I was a criminal or something. And I just was like, I said, well, baby, do you want to go back? And he said no. So yeah, we do Earth School and Nether School. We have an auntie up here in Northern California who's been teaching us to read, you know, Medu Neter, and we really just learn from nature. So we forage, and we do all the math and the science that we can, but through the lens of what we encounter on the daily, you know. So it's. Ooh,
I'm gonna show you a girl that I ain't gonna show the whole video, but this is a girl in London. She's from India, but they teach her how to read blindfolded
Okay.
because they don't think this shit be real until they see somebody do it. So, you know, I like to bring receipts.
Yeah, bring it.
Before matching up the colors as though her eyes were wide open.
First the green, then the orange, then the blue, then the blue, then the yellow,
Yes.
then the like a donut.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Even beating this young onlooker at a game of tic-tac-toe.
X. I won.
Yay! When the
Yes.
temple first reached out to tell me about the girl with the superhuman abilities, I didn't know what to think, but I knew I had to see it for myself. Hi! Perfect timing. How are you?
Good.
Good. Thank you so much for coming. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Okay, let's just take a seat right here. Yoga Mata agreed to sit with me and demonstrate her abilities one-on-one. So, Yoga Mata, I saw what you were doing in there. It's really amazing. But some people at home watching this...
Now, her name is Yoga Mata. In Hindi, that's the mother of the yogis.
Oh, yes.
Because Mata in Hindi is mother.
Yes. Mada.
Hmm. So she a little kid, and they calling her the mother of the yogis already. But she's one of several students in the class over there that read blindfolded. This is part of the curriculum that we go into.
Go, baby, go. Yes. Well, we're
So they
here
got a
already.
reading program called IQ, EYEQ,
Uh-huh.
and it's a speed reading program,
Mhm.
and it's in game format to facilitate children to learn how to speed read.
Uh-huh.
Right. So what we're supposed to be teaching them is, if we teach children the way the brain function, we would teach them the alphabet, phonics, and
Yes.
then speed reading. And once they get the speed reading skills down, we're supposed to turn them loose on the library and say, learn everything you can.
Yes. Yes. I love it.
You see, so we know what to do on all levels.
Mhm.
We just got to get our people to wake up so we can start doing what's right and stop doing this bullshit. Because this
Yes.
shit ain't right. Excuse my language with the
Yes.
babies in the back.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it's an honor, truly. I was in the pyramid of Chichen Itza. Hold on one second, baby. Okay, can you give your brother some of those rosemary crackers back there? Thank you, baby. I'm just on my juice delivery route right now in San Francisco. When you picked up the phone, I really was at Oracle Park. I think it's just also everything's all tuned in. You know, it's all in alignment. But what I was gonna say.
You're starting to break up pretty bad too. I think you're losing reception wherever you're going through.
So I don't interrupt the flow, but keep on keeping on. And you know I'm here screaming free Larry Hoover all day, free the people of the land, and restore all of the conditions to the people of the land.
Then it cut off. All right, sweetie, you cutting in and out, so I'm gonna let another caller come in so you can watch the rest of it.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's good. Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Alabama. Um,
Alibaba.
yeah. So I probably sent you some messages, but I've been seeing Hawk for like 4 days in a row.
I think you got your speaker covered up because you sound muffled.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I said I've been seeing Hawks like 4 days in a row. I don't know what that means.
It might not mean nothing or it might mean something. It depends on what's the catalyst,
The catalog.
right? What you got me coming in through the background. You got another computer on or something?
Hold on.
Oh, that's what that was. She had me on speaker. She buffering now. I'm just gonna answer her question. So she wanna know. She keeps seeing hawks. When you see things that get your attention, they mean something. But you got to take stock of what you thinking about when you see it, what you was doing right before you saw it, or where you was going, or where you was coming from. All of those things go into translating exactly what do the symbol mean. So it get your attention, it tell you it means something, but that's all you looked at. But you didn't look at what you was thinking, what you was doing, where you was going, where you was coming from. Then all of that stuff is like fine tuning what it means when you see certain stuff. They tell me Connecticut in the cut. Let's see what they do in Connecticut.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's just some of the parts. What's going on with you guys? What's going on? Where you
Yo,
calling
what's
from?
going on, peace,
What's
God?
on your mind?
What they do?
Peace, peace, hello.
Hey, hey. So where y'all calling from? What's on y'all mind?
We calling from Connecticut.
We're in Connecticut. It's raining bad.
Yeah, but it's nice out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the water. Well,
Right?
that was a flip.
Yeah, we are ready.
Yeah.
We've been telling everybody like what's going on. We trying to keep we just send them all your lives. To be honest,
Facts.
it's the best way to catch everybody up. But
Get you up, right? Righteous.
oh, we gotta get in the light.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but so the question I had, because last time we was on live, I was at work. You was talking about the birth of a god. I was hoping you could expound on that.
Back into the mitochondria and the DNA and the birth
Okay,
of
so
God.
you ever hear the old ladies talking about tell you don't do something while you pregnant because you'll mark that child?
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they telling you. You had the power to influence fetal development from the power of the mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if a man and a woman agree to produce a child, they can sit down and describe the child they want to produce between the two of them.
Mm.
Right? You want a high functioning, physically healthy child. You can pick the gender and all that before y'all ever decide to start trying to make a baby. But let's say that she pregnant, she don't know what she having, and you still want to fine tune the baby to only work on mental capacity, right? And physical fitness. You want a strong, healthy child with high mental ability, right? But then you start studying what does it take to bring that out of a child too, right? So we know from studying this that classical music, specifically Beethoven, and brings out the genius in the developing fetus. This has been proven in science.
Yep.
And also, yeah, so it's also been proven that Beethoven's music causes plants to grow healthier, stronger. And we also know that Beethoven's music in fetuses, in adolescent children, facilitate their learning process and help them navigate learning curves at a more rapid rate. So this is just through adding one thing to the development of the child. The next thing we got to understand is the mother is going to be the most powerful force on the developing fetus. Once she understands that, and whatever characteristics that she most annoy you with is the one she's going to embed in the child. Right? So she got to be foreknowing this going in, and she have to have a constant dialogue for that trait not to show up. Right? So she's saying that, no, my child not going to be like this. No, my child not going to behave that way. No, my son or my daughter not going to have disrespect for the opposite gender just because of their gender. Right? She's talking to the child. She's instilling rules, and she's engaging the child in pregnancy. Right? Now, the father can do it too, but only if the mother is not in the process will it cross over. Like, so let's say you wide the fuck awoke, and she ain't woke at all. You better start talking to your unborn through telepathy. Because she's not going to be communicating to him in what you call a coherent functional manner. So he's going to be picking up mixed signals all day. That's why all these children are born with all these disorders now. All it means is that we're not controlling the children we bring into the world. We bring it in the world, whatever happened. Right? But we didn't used to do that. Right? So when we know what we want in our children, you got to make sure, like, for instance, it's more likely that 2 5-foot parents will produce a 7-foot child than 2 7-foot parents. Crazy, ain't it?
Right.
Whereas it's more likely that 2 7-foot parents to produce a 5 to 6'5" child average. Right? Because that's called the cross section of DNA. Right? So when you understand that these things matter, you can influence the DNA to upgrade in real time. Right? So you notice that a lot of the people who used to be glued to their phones, they children glued to their phones. They got phones at 3 years old because they can't live without a phone. Because their mama couldn't live without a phone. All while she was pregnant, all she did was text and tried to hawk down her baby daddy. Right? But in the reality of if they understood the responsibility of the parents, even though he might not be there, he out doing something to benefit the home. And she's confident enough that he out there doing something to benefit the home to the degree where she can focus on psychological well-being of an unborn child, emotional well-being of an unborn child. Then when it comes time to give birth, don't just spit the baby out, cut the cord. That's not how that's supposed to work. You're not supposed to cut the cord till the mother's milk tell the placenta to separate from the uterus. This is creating a circuit between the mother and the child, which also balances the emotional body of the child instantly. So you don't have a cranky baby. And then when you leaving with somebody, say, you got the best baby. What you do while you was pregnant make your baby come out so good? But that can be affected in that one act of allowing the colostrum to tell the baby's digestive system to send the enzymes through the umbilical cord to release the placenta. The whole process is dealing with chakra number 3. right? And chakra number 3 is tying to the silver cord of the mother through the umbilical cord, right? So when you understand in the science of the fetal development, the mother's communication with the child, both unborn and born, you get to create a more holistic environment to bring the children up in. And that's how your mama know, like, something wrong with my baby. Something, and she calling you and you trying to fight. Your phone blowing up because it's your mama won't stop calling you to see what you're doing. I'm about to whoop this nigga ass. What? Mama, quit calling me. You about to get, I'm trying to go get in this, you know. But no, or you about to go do a stick up. But your mama keep blowing your phone up. I can't even go in here and rob motherfucker. My phone keep blowing up. How the fuck your mama know? Mitochondrial synapse. The mitochondrial frequency is a radio wave of love energy. As long as she love you enough, she gonna be able to read all of the dirt you doing or all of the good you doing, and she not doing it with her conscious mind. It's coming from the heart. It's the heart connection. Right. So now we dealing with what's that? The 4th chakra. Solar plexus. Right.
The solar
and that's how. So look. So this how your mama and her having a full-fledged conversation about you using your heart chakra as a jump station.
Right.
Your mama is saying to her what type of woman she need to be to keep you. But your mama ain't gonna just tell it to anybody. Right. They gotta match the frequency in the heart.
Right.
And when you see certain stuff, it's gonna get your attention. Like, damn, it's like somebody picked this girl for me. How the fuck she know that I like red beans and rice and I ain't told her? This is the best goddamn red beans, you know. How she know? How she know I didn't give a fuck about no holidays? How did she know? Now she making me give a fuck about these motherfuckers. I'm starting to see more than the pagan association with the disgruntled minds of the oppressed trying to fend off the oppressor by attacking the holidays. And I get to see it a little different now. You know how I see it now? Every excuse to bring the family together and have a party, goddamn it, take advantage of it. Because if we don't come together and laugh together,
because leave it to the family, it won't be none.
Facts.
It was my mother's birthday.
Set that shit off like Vivica. Like Vivica A. Fox set it off. This is what we used to do this is where the Mardi Gras celebration is a family march. It started with a particular family. If you go back to you won't be able to get back that far in their written history. But the original Mardi Gras festival started from a family that used to do dress up and walk and parade through the town.
What? That's what?
Look, every major city, the training ground to in order to reach 3 generations is New Orleans. It's a city. I'll be telling you, half of New Orleans is underwater.
I always wanted to go. I never gotta go.
Yeah. So
no.
Here, check this out. This was all them people that don't believe that these motherfuckers sunk our cities. Watch this.
70% connected to iPhone.
This is Dabu 7. We have word out of New Orleans that there is the potential for an underwater city to be sitting there some 50 miles off the coast of St. Bernard in the region of New Orleans. Now they're saying that amateur archaeologists, fishermen, all these people that have been in the area are all saying the same thing. That something weird is happening out here. And they believe that this is a city that dates back to 12,000 years ago. They're stating that this region is showing proof of having buildings on the site. And if this is true, then this could date back to 12,000 years ago when that region had dry land instead of the water that you see now in the Gulf of Mexico. So this is right around an area called the Chandelier Island, out in the Gulf of Mexico, east of New Orleans, where these granite slabs and rocks have been discovered. One thing is for certain, there is something there.
So they was blowing our
It's always
cities
gonna be
up.
something there.
Look, I be telling people, when I tell you I know what I'm talking about, I know what
We
I'm
just
talking
be
about.
listening to everything. Like, tell us more, because listen, we really sat down one night. We was like, all right, we got to make a timeline. But the way how you just give us a download, it be right
As
on
soon
time.
as she was like, "Yeah, we gotta make a timeline." Like a couple of days later, you dropped the timeline
Yeah.
video. I was cracking up. I'm
Like, I named
see,
two
now
things.
we don't even gotta drop no timeline
Like,
anymore.
I was looking up J. Edgar Hoover, shit like that, and then, you know, going into you ended up doing the live. I'm like, there we go. Like, everything just, feel me? But yeah.
Yeah, when I had to do 3 of them that day in order to get one of them to stick because they kept cutting me off.
And they're doing it tonight too. I'm just lucky to be on with you. Feel me? I definitely have to say thank you.
Shit, I might be the lucky one.
We gonna
Y'all
stay on.
calling
No,
it.
to be honest, we started
Look,
this
y'all
page.
calling
But
to ask about giving birth to a god. Shit, y'all have a baby. Shit,
Yeah,
I be the
I'm trying to
contributor
have
to that
14
shit.
kids. You feel me? You already know what time we are. You know what I mean?
that was the first date. Like 14 kids. I'm like 14. But to be honest, we was talking about the mitochondria and everything was linking up, but we never paid attention to science. So to have you, you know, break it down to a basic level, and I'm like, wow, everything's really connecting.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned, well, one thing I want to know about was like twins, but you also mentioned like spontaneous abortion, and then that's when you had mentioned the birthing of a god. So I'm like, I want to know how everything, like, feel me, works out.
Okay, when I talked about spontaneous abortion, it goes to a couple of things. The first thing is most women produce a chemical in their vagina that kills the Y chromosome. Because the Y chromosome to the mother is a foreign invader. So in order to get a Y chromosome beyond the vagina, the woman have to climax to flush. Right? So it makes it easier for the Y chromosomes to get through to make a male child. Right? So already on regular sex, about 60% of the Y chromosomes is dead out the gate. He's dead out the gate off the squirt. Right? The mother's vagina is working on killing that motherfucker right now. Now, some of them gonna make it through. But let's say a 2X and the XY both hit the egg at the same exact time and both of them penetrate. It's gonna cross out the XY. It's gonna kick it straight out, and it's gonna absorb it. Because only one of the eggs one of the sperm can fertilize the egg. And because the 2 X's are matches with the 2 X's, it's going to take that as the nucleus before it take the XY. So the material of the XY becomes absorbed as what it's called backup material by the 2 X's that organized it. Right? And the 2 X's that do the organizing, the active part is in the mother. Because it got to be activated through the mitochondria. We think because the sperm is the one look like it's moving, that the egg is not alive. But that's not true. A woman can get struck by lightning and start an egg to growing. It'll just be a 100% clone of herself like she gave birth to her identical twin.
Yep. Let alone the women that do reproduce by themselves.
Right.
Yeah,
That's called
parthenogenesis.
Yep. Yeah. Probably more, probably just more the spiritual aspect. Like that's something that we went through. You feel me? So, and it was 2 males. So we didn't know what they would have been until they came. So we're like, wow, 2 boys.
So in the first 3 months, the first trimester, 75% of spontaneous abortions are males. Because when you start exchanging the estrogen, progesterone, and adjusting it, you haven't adjusted your chemistry to carry a male child. You're not doing anything in the change of diet to facilitate it. So it takes it as a parasite and rejects it. Right? About 60% or so of second trimester spontaneous abortions are also male. Normally after the second trimester, it has to be an anomaly to cause a early birth. But what we don't know is you got 3 birth cycles of human. You got the 7-month, the 9-month, and the 12-month. The 12-month, usually closer to the 10th month, they will induce their labor. But the baby not done doing what it has to do yet. But they don't want you to know that we don't all birth on a 9-month schedule.
Right.
But the women instinctually know, but they won't say nothing because they used to get killed for saying something. They wiped out all the doulas, turned doula centers into hospitality centers. They call them hospitals.
Yep.
So now we putting it all back together.
And we both.
If you put everything where it's supposed to go, it'll run the way it's supposed to run.
Yeah, we both have a background in healthcare, so we already third eye wide open. Like,
you know, we was definitely
we actually met at work. So
yeah, like off rip, we was already like, you know, talking about, you know, home birth. Like that was my shit. You feel me? And like it's just crazy.
I know y'all glow good together.
Yeah,
thank you.
What I mean? Like, it's just I don't know. Life is really some shit. You feel me? Like,
so the lady before y'all heard me talking about the training center and all that stuff.
Exactly. And it's crazy because I already have a son. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. Like, I'm just absorbing everything, and not only that, I have nephews. I have a lot of just young ones always around me. Not only that, I was a teacher, in multiple schools. Like life just led me to that shit. So I already know like I'm supposed to be like absorbing enough information in order to be able to relay it back to the young ones. You feel me? So it can make sense to them. You know what I mean? So I watch mad cartoons and shit like that, all that anime, all that shit, so I could like really be.
A lot of it is in the anime.
Let me stay away from
the
that
anime.
Shit. You said what?
Yeah, the anime got like all of the instructions. If once you know your history, you gonna get so much shit out of anime. You gonna love that shit.
Word.
My favorite one right now is Bleach.
Bleach, yeah, Bleach is fire. Bleach is fire. It's long, but it's fire.
Look,
yeah.
We actually
I binge watched Bleach.
Yeah.
We watched one recently. It's like one of the first ones she really got put onto. I've been telling her to watch anime from mad long, but I ended up getting her to watch one. It's called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
He comes back as a slime. First 10 seconds, he gets stabbed to death. You feel me? He dies.
And I was just saying, like, you feel me? Like, so many people are afraid to die, and they don't really understand what the meaning. The death, like, it's a perspective thing. You know what I mean? And like, we're really supposed to shed this skin in order to like reach our greater selves and shit like that. You know what I mean? So, like, we can't ever be afraid to die and shit.
Your body, when your mind gets to the right frequency, your body is the Merkaba.
Right.
It's a 3-part hieroglyphic word. The mir is a ship. The ka means your physical body. Ba is your soul, your spirit navigator. Right? Then you go into other ones. It's like 21 parts to the human personality. Right? But those are the major ones. Then you had a Sa, which is governing over the uterus. It's the symbol of rulership, the symbol of childbirth, the symbol of rebirth. You'll see in Ainana holding the Ba, right? So it's a lot of stuff that come with the Ba, but that's the women's rights. So it doesn't make sense when I try to explain how it worked to a man. The vibration don't go in right. He can intellectually understand it, but a woman can understand it from her mind, her heart, and her uterus. So she can understand it on a level we can't because we don't got no uterus. Right? Her uterus, it can echo. It's an echo chamber.
Mhm.
Right? And when she talk and she pray, which is actually she should be meditating, then what they got us doing is prayer is projecting when we should be receiving. We should be receivers first. Because then you can understand what the universe has for you. And it echoes through the uterus and the heart chakra, and then it bounces off the 4 chambers of the brain. And the 2 top chambers is the king seat and the queen seat. One is on the left hemisphere, one is on the right. In the queen seat sits your pineal gland, which is the pine cone. And in the king seat sits your pituitary gland, which is responsible for biochemistry. And it all works together to allow you to turn your body into something that you don't know is possible at this point in time. Your emotions is your navigation system. You're not supposed to let your emotions determine your actions. You're supposed to read your emotions so that you would know if your action is in context or not. Because if it's not in context, then that means there's some outside influences in your character or personality that you picked up along the way.
And that's
Right.
the
So
type
that's
of thing
part of
you
the
have to
shadow
study
work.
meditation. Yep.
Yep.
Like
That's
every time
part
I
of the shadow
meditate,
work.
that's the first thing I do is like I shed all that negative energy around me, the negative energy I don't even know that's around me. Like first thing first.
Yeah. So that's psychic self-defense. Right. So when you start building up your auric field, right, it's an exercise where you can feel the energy between your palms.
Yeah.
The stronger you make them,
Yep.
the stronger your aura. That's an aura exercise. That's what Tai Chi is.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I came from martial arts. Like I did karate, and I also come from Muslim background. So every time everything just be connecting, I'm like, oh my gosh, like all the words, like Arabic, even Latin, everything. I be like, oh my gosh, like everything is making too much sense. So it just be like knock, knock, knock.
Nah, like ever since I met her, I'm like, yo, we really have superpowers. Like, you feel me? Like all of
But
that
we
shit.
practiced it.
All
like,
of that shit is not even like this is the shit that we already do. Like, you feel me? Like we really gotta free our minds type shit and like really become a child, like again, to really like unlock ourselves. You feel me?
Yeah.
Look, I give y'all, y'all inbox me. I'm gonna give y'all exercise for the couple in order to build y'all energy. Y'all be like a battery in a remote control
we
for
already
manifestation.
been practicing the finger pulling. So
Yeah,
I've been
having some crazy ass dreams or some shit. We be like, what the fuck? Yo, like it's been wild. So like, you feel me? Like I don't know, shit is just getting more and more advanced. We feel the thinness between the realms and shit. So it's like, you feel me? The veil,
for one, we gotta come back on live again. Like this is not our last conversation, but for two,
because
like,
our phone's really about to die. I don't even want you to feel like we cut out or nothing.
I know. Look, inbox me. I got some information. We're gonna pick up a private call. I give y'all some private information.
Yes.
Because it's some stuff I just can't say publicly because there do be children watching.
Okay.
But I say enough motherfuckers in here to offend their sensibilities, so not to have to get graphically into manifestation through cultivating Shakti energy.
Oh yeah, we definitely gotta talk about that.
Facts.
Yeah. Wait, I do got one thing that you was talking about, remote viewing. Like now we gotta read on this. Like first we're like astral projection.
Yeah,
but
so
we feel like we
what's
kind of
the difference? Like what's, you feel me? We need to know. Like
look, you can do all of those things on you can do them at the same time. You can do them one day this, one day that to practice. But the more you practice, the better you get.
Yeah. We're just the best thing that we do and that we agree with you the most is read. Like we read all the time. So now we're like, okay,
That's weightlifting for the brain.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I
And
call it.
you was teaching about this speed reading. Like we were
yeah,
never taught this and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like really, I mean, I feel like I kind of do it already. You know, like I have a whole lot of books, and I just really pick out the best parts. I go to the context, I pick out the best parts that I feel like. I'll go to them shits, I skip through them shits real good. I'll go back to them shits, I'll skip through them shits again. You feel me? And then I'll do that over time. You know what I mean? Until like I feel like, all right, I feel like I've mastered what I want out of this particular you know what I mean, piece of literature.
mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I want to be on some like click download like but
Yeah.
real time. You know what I mean? Like I take a book,
read it, and we done.
I know you've seen Constantine, that the priest, he was like able to like skim through, you feel me, anything. Like it's like, you know what I mean?
We
He could
need
just
that.
pick up all the information out of whatever he's
Yeah.
even touching, basically. So I know
That's
that's
psychometry.
so that's
If you
psychometry.
once you develop psychometry, which is the psychic sense that you have to develop,
Mhm.
Right.
you pick a book up, you won't never have to open it, and you could tell me what page to turn to see something.
Okay.
Right? So it's definitely possible. I knew people that could do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I need, definitely, because I'm like, I don't have enough time to read. Like you said, you already did the work, so we all we could do is just tune into every lecture that you drop.
Right,
Like we
right.
watch
Absorb
everything,
as
yeah,
much as possible
yeah,
and whatnot.
and apply
Spread as
what we
much as
can,
possible
yeah.
when we see somebody, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if we ever get into it, like really just tell them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like it's not all the time like you could just. I'm not the type of person to just be like talking to anybody. So if like I ever come into like some like good type of conversation, I'll really be, you know, telling people like free Larry Hoover at the end of the day.
Yep.
You feel
And
me?
when
Let
they
them
don't know
know
what it
type
means,
shit.
we're able to break it down to
Facts.
them, like you say all the time, into the context that they understand. And even if I don't, I'll be like, okay, Uncle Rob video, you just got
Facts.
to tune in, put
Facts.
your ears on, and
Facts.
feel me? Keep your mouth closed and 2 ears open. Like
Basically,
that's it.
basically.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because that's the type of time we grew up on. Like,
Yeah,
when
that
your elders
respect.
talk, like you
You
just
gotta listen.
shut the fuck up, like.
Because it was a privilege to even be in the room with them if you hear them talking.
Facts.
So if
And
they talking, you better listen up.
yeah, like even my mom's era, like you can't even look your elders in the eye type thing. So it's like a whole different, you know, dynamics and whatnot. So I'm just thankful, like you just so chill and shit, like that.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, I'm just like y'all. The only difference is I just had a lot of time to study.
Right.
Look, when them motherfuckers like me up for 16 years, they thought they was doing a disservice to me. They didn't know they was doing the greatest service they could to my community.
Yep.
Right. So my sister that's a year younger than me, and my oldest brother bought me thousands of dollars worth of books over them 16 years.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So like whatever I do, I always let them know, you know, I know when they don't understand always what I'm talking about, but I be like, all them books that y'all spent out that money buying,
Mm-hmm.
this is what the product of me finding out all this information.
Yep. Yeah.
So I can tell you where everything at now.
Yeah. Like I be listening to you, and I be looking at it like I don't even think that they really listening. Like, but we just be having everything, and like I said, it just so happened that we just might be talking about this shit 2 days prior.
Shit just be synchronicity, like
Yeah.
like even the fact like you even mentioned I was watching X-Men like earlier with my nephew, like for me on some shit, like I'm like, oh shit, you feel me? Like this is crazy, you feel me? Like it's just too, you know what I mean? Like everybody, so it's like if you on that vibration, just certain shit just gonna connect, like you're gonna be like, all right, so we on the same frequency, you know what I mean? Like so we here, like, you know what I mean? You at the right place. If somebody ain't tell you right now, you at the right place at the right time, like, you feel me? So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take one more call before I wrap this one up.
Okay, no
thanks,
problem.
Yeah, it was good talking to
All right,
y'all.
we'll definitely be in touch.
Okay.
All right, peace.
I'm probably not gonna get everybody in today, but I'm gonna be on back on here again shortly.
You don't watch nothing. You don't go to bed. Or go brush your teeth.
Sound like somebody doing mama duties over there.
Yes. Look, they don't want to go to bed. Say hi.
Hello.
Hey, how y'all doing?
They busy. Peace, peace. Oh my gosh. Listen. Everything you've been saying, I've been wrecking my brain trying to get the people on board because they coming out these dirty boys. My son, my baby.
I just got
Say hi. Look, hi. Listen, so I was, Black Magic channel. 1 second, baby. Black Magic channel that you was on. It's like right after you was on talking to the brother. He had this one guy called Duke of Tears, right? So I joined in on, to watch him on YouTube. This guy was saying, he was like, yes, so we are the Moors, and we're over here, and we've always been here, and this is our land. He was like, the only way for us to win is to get a nationality card. And I'm like, no. Look, I'm like, no, because that is what, once again, it's a part of the corporation. That's why we up under this mess dealing with the corporation. Yep. Let me tell you, I think he had his girl handling all the texts that people, because he was live, and she was coming at me like low key. You could tell she was like in the background trying to tell the people, like, I was like, didn't the Moors get kicked out of Europe? And when they got kicked out of Europe in 1492, then they end up over here. She made it seem like, no, we always been here. And I'm like,
okay,
no,
so
not the same people.
Let me explain to you what they doing. If you understand what they doing, and it won't work on you.
But they coming out now, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Because she felt some kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I definitely wanted to mention this March 16th Blue Out Wednesday post Larry Hoover hashtag with the Nipsey Blue.
March 16th? My brother just had a birthday. The one that I said you remind me of. His birthday was March the 5th.
Now look, March the 16th is the day they snatched Larry up.
Okay.
So this is a full turnaround to the day.
I feel it. Listen, I feel it. I feel it in the air. I feel it in the wind. I don't know what it is, but spiritually, and I've been noticing it for years, I have crows. I know, they're not crows. I have ravens. Big, nice, black, pretty ravens. Especially when I'm with my babies. If I could take them to the park or something, they fly over. Like, it's like protection, kind of. And I'm getting it from a spiritual. So I'm trying to in tune and listen, especially if I'm behind the vehicle. Like if I'm on a block and when I say they flock heavily around me, I be seeing the ravens fight the pigeons. It's crazy. So the pigeons would be on the wires, on the wires, the pole wires, and the ravens would come out of nowhere. I could be sitting in my car and they would, and the pigeons would fly away, and the ravens would sit there. I feel like I'm protected when I see them.
Mm-hmm. So a pigeon is a dove.
Okay.
And the dove comes in multiple colors and subspecies.
Okay.
So the pigeon is the same bird.
Okay.
The raven brings the message from the other side, from the ancestors.
Okay.
When you have a flock of ravens around you, this is the ancestors watching over you.
Even when I'm not, if my son, because my son, he stays outside riding his bike. He like to do the wheelie up and down the street. If you follow his page, he'll have the ravens over him too. Like, and I'm like, cause I said, that's Big Mama. They making sure that y'all protected. Like I feel it. Like I know everything you say is real.
I love the babies.
Yeah, he like you, that one right there. I think he a kind, like you said, that's a conjure baby. I conjured him up. let me tell you what I got deep into. I got deep into, you know how they say they attach the spirits to the liquor, to the alcohol, right? I said these commercials that tell you to drink responsibly, but they're not telling you that these are real spirits that was attached to them. So what I
So
go ahead.
they use specific alcohols for spirit transfer. It's normally red wine. And the reason why they use the red wine is because they normally infuse it with adrenochrome or some kind of blood product.
Okay.
Right. So drinking my blood, eating my flesh, thinking them
Yeah,
times.
that church stuff. My body, the blood is for the wine is for the drink, the wine of the blood, and the chip or the crackers was for the body. Yeah, that they did in church.
It's called a ritual. It's called a cannibalistic ritual.
Yeah.
By cannibalizing the god, the belief is that you can incorporate the body of the god into your body.
Okay.
Right. So this gets cannibalism. And one of the things that the cannibals tell you is when they first eat somebody, that they get a rush, and the rush is the energy from that person they absorb.
Okay.
So if they kill a brave warrior, even if they're not cannibals, sometimes they'll eat a piece of them.
Ooh. Ooh.
And that's traced back all the way to, you can trace that back in almost every landmass.
Okay. Yeah, I studied up on it's funny you was mentioning that Putin. However you Vladimir.
Yep. Vladimir.
So from Romania or Armenia. Was it in another Vlad? Was it a Vlad the Conqueror? What was his name?
Vlad it's Vlad the Impaler.
The Impaler. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And it goes back to the same thing because they got pictures of him from the I guess his era where he used to cut the heads off the people and hang them around the castle. So when people would come to him for war, I guess they said that that it was so gruesome that they would turn away.
So they call him the Impaler because he would stick a long spear through the bodies and stick them up like telephone lights, like night lights. Like we got street lights, them would be bodies.
Okay.
And they would be leading up to his castle. And and that was the body of the people he defeated in battle. And he would put them up there to warn anybody else coming to fuck with him that I got something for your ass too.
Okay. Well, let me see the picture. Listen, so my kid's cousin, she my niece, because I've been watching her since she was little. I said she returned. I got a picture of a Seminole girl from like the 1800s. And when I say you got the picture, look at this picture. If you can see it. Let me see if I can get it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, welcome home. Look at this picture. That's her prom picture. She's in 8th grade. That's the same girl.
It's a little blurry. I'm familiar with the old Seminole picture. I can't see her that clear though.
Let me see if I can get it. It's probably the light in my kitchen. Hold on. Mommy, run off. Did it go off? Put it back on. Oh, here it go.
No, it's just that the camera not adjusting the focus.
Okay. Yeah, I said she returned. I sent her this picture. I said, oh my God, that's my niece. And this is an 1800 picture. But she's a Seminole. So when you say
the Seminoles we all went to fight in the Seminole Wars. Some villages uprooted the whole village.
Okay.
To come fight in them Seminole Wars.
Yeah.
So the term Seminole, that was not the term. That's not how we named ourselves.
It's many tribes that was like, it was Creek. It was a gang of tribes from all over. When I do my ancestry, it takes me to my mother, father's side, Bluntstown. Is it Bluntstown, Florida, where the Seminoles was at. But when you start researching, and you'll understand that the Seminoles was in South Carolina, they were in Georgia, They were probably in, I think they were in Virginia. One of my great-great-grandfathers was a Seminole. He got killed in Virginia, like they couldn't find him or something, but I guess he was in the wars. He was in the fighting the wars.
Yep, Seminole Wars.
But they would call them they was the Seminole Wars, but they was calling them, what is it with the Confederate? They was Confederate soldiers. They wasn't Union though. They was fighting for Florida, or they was fighting for South Carolina. And so I tell people, like, that Confederate flag used to be our ancestors.
That's it. They be telling us that the Confederate flag is the racist flag, right?
No.
This red, white, and blue shit we got is the racist flag.
Mm-hmm.
Like me and my father had this conversation before he passed, and I was like, Pops, didn't half as many people die under the Confederate flag in race-related issues as it was under this red, white, and blue Old Glory?
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't know at the time that they had usurped us like they did.
No. Well, it makes sense. Your enemy will get you if they look like you. So when they say, oh, they sold you to the Africans, is the Moors, the Africans, and Europe, is it all the same? That's what I was wondering.
No. Look, I went over this earlier. The Moors that got kicked out of Europe, they're not even from here.
Okay. Yeah, I heard you. I was watching it.
They invaded Africa around the same time they invaded us looking for a home.
Okay.
So they had the
Dutch. They was doing invading around the world.
Right.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the timeline, they went into India first under Alexander.
Okay.
Then they fought a long, drawn-out war with the Huns and the Mongols.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and they fought wars against the Hindus.
Yeah.
They took POWs as permanent slaves from all of those communities, and when they got kicked out, that's who they brought over as servants.
Okay. The Mongoloids.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because we already had dealings with them, right? Going way back. The people from this land married people from Asia and from Africa thousands of years before any Moors ever landed one foot over here.
Mm-hmm.
They trying to convince us that the Moorish Empire is ancient. They flag not ancient. Their religion not ancient. Right? They first stronghold in Europe was around 500 AD.
Okay.
As Roman.
Okay.
Right? But they established the Roman Empire before they flooded Spain and Portugal, going into what they call Rome.
Okay.
Right? They crossed out Hannibal, had him. Right. So that's the same people.
Okay. So they went against war with Hannibal. That's why I was wondering. So Hannibal wasn't a Moor. He wasn't a Moor.
He was a Carthaginian priest.
Okay.
He was a priest of war. What you call him a general. Right. Okay. They call him a general in modern ranking system, but back then he was called the high priest of war.
Okay.
Right. So his job is when the country go to war, he was to lead the troops in the battle.
Okay.
So they infiltrated the Senate in Carthage in order to cut off his supply line so that they couldn't fund the war, and they left him in the battlefield with no supplies.
Okay. Wow.
Once he realized what was going on, he knew that the next day was going to invade Carthage, so he tried to get back home, and then Rome cut him off, and that's his first and only defeat. Yeah.
Well, I got a question. I'm in Jersey. It's storming. Like, it was like 70-something degrees today, but you could feel like in the atmosphere it's something spiritual going on. Like, people not catching it. I don't want to be sounding crazy. I know I do, but I still go on with my belief because my beliefs is my spiritual it's always been there. It ain't just come overnight. You see what I'm saying? From a child, I always had a sixth sense. My kids got it. I got it. It's something different in the air right now, though. So I'm thinking we're in a change of everything that the prediction of everything that we've been putting out that energy for it to flip over. Big Mama is working her. I can feel she working her magic, but at the same time, she protecting us that need the protection because the war is on us right now. You see the gas prices, so they hollering the war over there.
So let me explain the gas prices so it'll make a little bit more sense to the people that's watching. We phasing out oil and gas, fossil fuels, because it's damaging to the environment. This is why all of the auto manufacturers is going to the production of electric vehicles, which is going to go to the production of perpetual energy vehicles.
Okay, what's she doing?
Right, so they know that this their last run on the fuel supply. Because in 20 years, we're not going to be using fossil fuels. That shit, it's going to be worthless.
Okay.
So they're trying to get all they can out while it's going down.
I'm like from last week to this week, and I'm in Jersey, but the gas was like $3.60. So when I went to fill up this week, it was like $4.29. I'm like, what's going on?
Hey, look, they got a thing on TikTok now. People going to gas stations talking about the most expensive place they ever been.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Look, one dude took his girl to the gas station. He said, my girlfriend asked me to take her somewhere expensive. He had blindfolded and took her to the gas station.
It's expensive, okay? Listen, if I had a motorcycle, I would be jumping on that and the car would stay parked because not just the gas at the gas station, they're heating gas.
Look, they trying to tax us all they can on the fall.
So what you say about that with the heating gas? Because I'm looking at that bill like they taxing us just to have it put in. So you're taxing us to get it. You're not even taxing them what we using. How that work?
So that's a little different. So what they charging is different companies that own pipelines that go to different subdivisions.
Okay.
The rent on the pipeline is what you call the tax.
Yeah.
Right. So the person that owned the pipeline, he owned the pipeline as holder in due course. That means he's the actual owner. You're not even the owner in due course of your car. That's why the state can pull up and throw that bitch away and you can't say nothing about it.
Yeah, because you turn it over to the state when you get it registered. Absolutely.
Well, even when you finance a car, if you don't read all of the paperwork, which most of us don't, you'll never know that when you pick the car up, right? They're not gonna give you the title.
Nope.
Right, because if you ask for the true title, then if they give you the title, then you don't have to pay for the car. You own it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the collateral. That's what they holding back, the paperwork. That's why this is the whole system is based on paper chains and the adhesion contract.
Contraction. We under contract law with, and it's private contract, and then it's public. Like we're in the public. So when you got all your senators and all of them, they in the private. They not never paying taxes, even though they say we're gonna tax the rich. They ain't paying taxes because they in the private. That's what Trump said. They said, well, why you got all these, huh?
Look, that's not how the rich boy paying taxes, though.
Yeah, they don't, do they?
They avoid paying taxes they don't own nothing.
Okay.
They put everything in a trust or the foundation name. And the trust and the foundation is a 501 something, C3, C2 or something.
Yeah.
But the foundation ends up being a non-profit, a non-tax entity.
That's where they do the charities, right? The big charities.
Well, look, if you go to the Rothschilds, they don't own nothing, or the Rockefellers, but all of their wealth is through the Rothschild Institute or the Rockefeller Foundation.
Oh, wow.
They can live off of it. They just can't put it in their personal account.
They can live off, what they living off, the interest?
The petty cash drawer.
Okay. That's crazy. Did you hear about the lady in New York at the subway. Her name was, what was her name? Annie Rothschild. It was funny because it wasn't funny, but they said that they hit her upside the head with a hammer. Somebody mugged her and robbed her. And so I said to my mother, I said something more to the story. Let me look into it. What was her name? Her name was Annie or Annabelle Rothschild. I said Rothschild. Everybody don't got that name, right? I guess she's one of the scientists of the health and wellness or something, or mental health or something in New York. So I started looking into it, right? I said it's more to it than what they telling us. They saying she just got robbed and got hit. She's a Rothschild. Ain't no telling what she done did.
Well, one thing about it is, if you robbing a Rothschild, you practicing because they don't carry money.
Hmm.
Now they might carry a bag of diamonds,
Mm.
but they might have a suitcase with a couple of gold bars with some gold coins in it. But for the most part, they don't carry money.
Yeah.
Especially Federal Reserve notes. They don't fuck with that shit because they know what it is.
They do, don't they? Just credit? Ain't that the system they trying to get us under? Debit? What?
They don't use credit.
No. Or debit? No, they don't use none of it.
They use a system that only requires their signature.
I read up on it. Yeah. So that's what that's a part of the paperwork that I was trying. What is with the paperwork? No nationality. It was one guy I was like researching. He was saying you got to do your declaration. What's a declaration? Like, what's the difference from a declaration and getting a nationality card?
It's different.
It's no different.
It's different.
Okay, so when you making your declaration, because I was doing a paperwork and a process for the declaration.
It's not done by paperwork.
No, that's and so Big Mama sent you my way and was like, no, don't do it like that. So I started listening to you, and it made sense. And I stopped. I completely stopped.
Right. So look, the declaration is a public notice.
Yeah, but you said don't do it by paper.
No, you can write it, but you don't register it with no court system.
Okay.
Right? You put it in the public domain to state your sovereign position.
Okay.
You know, this is different than filing a contractual agreement to be a citizen in a corporation called a nation.
Okay.
Right? So when we tribe up, we don't use the system of election to select. We use the system of selection.
Okay.
And the selection is done by most loved, most respected.
Okay.
Right? This is according to the law of righteousness. It don't have nothing to do with the laws of nations, UCC.
Yeah.
Ancient Code of Thieves.
Yeah, because they're not going off laws. They're going off uniform commercial codes. Everything is coded. They make laws because they make a code. It makes a code to fit anything. So if you're found innocent, but they want to find you guilty, they're going to change their code. Right? Crazy.
So the court system really don't have anything to do with the people.
Okay.
They using you as like a thumb drive. You just information to them. You the same as that file sitting on the desk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why you ain't supposed to say nothing in court. Because you classified as an imbecile in law.
You did to them on paperwork.
Yeah.
I be telling people, all your mail come in all capital letters. That ain't how we spell our name. You spell your name first cap, the rest lower cap. So why they sending us bills with all cap?
So to research that further, you look in the law into something called style and title.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell the imposter because his style and title is all cap block letters.
Okay.
Ours is italicized, capital, lowercase, 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 new word, capital, lowercase, lowercase.
Okay.
They always tell us who they is. If you look on a warrant, the warrant say the people of the state of Michigan versus John Hancock. everybody's shit capital. But
Yeah.
when you look on the Constitution, it's not written. People of the state of Michigan is not written in the same style and title as what's on the warrant,
Okay.
right? So then you can see for yourself the difference.
Okay. That's
They
crazy.
got to tell you. They got to tell you their jurisdiction. How you got jurisdiction over me,
And who is the state?
right?
Like, who's
But if
state?
you don't know how to press the issue of jurisdiction, it's real simple. First thing you ask them is, are you an Article 3 court? Because according to Article 3 of the United States Constitution, that all courts must be registered under Article 3.
Okay.
No state court is an Article 3 court, period.
Okay.
So
Wow.
now they still got subject matter jurisdiction, but they don't have the jurisdiction of the person.
Okay.
The subject matter is the subject, and they matter in a courtroom that don't got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
But they holding you as the collateral for the debt.
Are they? Is
And
they open? Is they opening up your trust? Because I hear we all got to trust if you're from the land. Is they opening up your trust and using it every time you go to court? What's that
Yep.
about?
So they taking your trust is a trade instrument that's
That's what you
issued
mean
through.
by the signature. That's the instrument that they're using instead of carrying cash, right?
Well, kinda. The courts, when they charge you with something,
Mm-hmm.
they put a lien on your personal bond. Your personal bond is guaranteed by your trust.
Mm.
Now, if you take the bond out first off the warrant before you enter the courtroom, then you hold the jurisdiction, not them.
Okay.
But it becomes a tricky, slippery slope, though.
So is that why they had the bondsman? Because I was always wondering why you got to go to a bondsman to bail somebody out. What was that about?
So the binding agent,
Okay.
right? They are the ones who can access the trust. They know how to do it, but they're not gonna tell you how to do it. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna access your trust.
That about it.
We put the lien on you for the amount of the bond. So let's say you got $100,000, 10%. They want you to put up $100 on the 10%. They put up the 1,000. But what they doing is
Wow.
on the bond that they posting is the bond on the entire court case.
Okay.
And the bond on the entire court case may be hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wow.
And they are entitled to receive what they call a finder's fee.
Oh.
A finder's fee for being the person that accessed your trust.
They've
Right.
been duping the people all the time.
Now the courts can take the whole whatever the bond is, right? The courts can seize that because the clerk of the court is the holder or the keeper of the bond. It's a trick. They want you to shoot high so they can hit you low, but if you go low, they're gonna hit you high.
Yeah.
So it's a trap no matter how you look at it, entering into their court system.
Yeah.
The only thing that's supposed to stop all proceedings is a challenge to jurisdiction. Anytime you challenge jurisdiction, the court's responsibility is to establish a competent jurisdiction on the record.
Mm.
You can look that up. Just research
I
jurisdiction.
believe you. I've heard of it. Yes, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So any challenge to jurisdiction is supposed to stop all proceedings until they can show on the record the competency of their jurisdiction. Soon as they show that they're not an Article 3 court, their jurisdiction is lost of the person. See, they don't have no jurisdiction over you. They got a jurisdiction over your straw man.
Straw man.
Your legal fiction.
Yep. Yep.
That's
But
subject matter.
And you know the crazy part? When we having babies, you got to ask yourself. I had to ask myself, I'm having these babies in these hospitals. Why is Social Security there asking you to sign these paperwork before you leave out of here for that birth certificate and that social? This is a private moment. I almost lost my life having this baby. But they making sure you sign the papers before you leave up out that hospital.
Yep.
And I had to think like, why, like it's a bonding moment. You just gave birth and it's a life and death situation for a woman. So when you just giving birth to something, why would Social Security Administration be there at the hospital? And they making sure they forcing them papers like a day before you leave the hospital. Oh, make sure you fill this out before you leave. We gotta have it back.
So this how it worked. Whoever you had a baby with, y'all produced a new company, a new straw man, and the reason they need you to fill out the paper is to create a trust in the straw man name.
A new corporation.
A new corporation.
Okay.
Right? And the manifest of birth is called a birth certificate. Right? But it's actually a shipping document under Admiralty law.
Wow.
It's called a manifest of birth. When you pull the ship into the dock, it's at its birth.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's deep. That's deep.
So when you pull the ship into the birth, you have to present to the doctor, the one who controls the dock.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Wordplay.
Right. So now you got to produce the manifest, the birthing manifest, which tells you the what's on the ship.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's deep. How you broke that down? Look. Ooh, you is the truth. You is the truth. Oh
so,
my
God. In all this time that we've been being controlled by this corporation, this legal fiction, they had a ship in the berth in the bay off of DC.
It's a lot of stuff. What's New Hampshire? Why they go meeting at New Hampshire? Because I'm in Jersey. And New Hampshire is right up the way. And a lot of these presidents, their main office, I'm noticing, is in New Hampshire.
Yeah, some of them in Connecticut, some of them in Maine. Northeastern Territory. You have to look up the Northeastern Trading Company and you will know that it is owned by England.
The lumber, that's how they got over here. The lumber company, what is it? The lumber something? I know they was coming over here. There was a
whole bunch of them. They had a whole bunch of all of these corporations was commissioned by King George II or King George III.
So ever since 2222, hashtag Free Larry Hoover, me and my cousin was noticing something. What was his name? So he's not the president, but what they call him of England, he's the what? The one guy with the Boris?
The prime minister.
The prime minister. I sent you a picture, right? And they was in court. I guess they was mad. They was talking about, like their system is something going on. It's pretty much what you said. You messed up the algorithm. They're going to feel it, right? So I took a picture. But when I took that picture of them in court, when they was on, YouTube, me and my cousin was noticing something. I said, what's that gold rod? It was like a gold staff or rod or something. It's called a mace. You heard of it, right? The mace is the so I started researching it. My cousin started researching it too. She's in Virginia. They have it in Virginia. The mace, that's leaders when they ruling over a country that they carry. Well, when you get into the indigenous part of it, right? Because I say, oh, well, what's the indigenous roots of it? The mace used to be a war club that the indigenous people used to use when they go to war. And I don't think it was gold. And they said it was probably like a stone or something on it. It was a long rod with it. It's funny because I'm saying rod and I'm thinking about your name, right? But it used to be a war club. So
look up wizard's staff.
Okay.
A wizard's staff is a stick with a crystal ball on the top.
Okay.
Right. So this is what you're talking about, what you're describing.
Go lay down. It's down. Go lay down.
I'm hot.
Crack the window. If I get on the live, they get loud.
This is what the wizard staff look like.
Okay. Yeah. It looked like that.
Mm-hmm. That's because I know what you're talking about.
Mhm. So what importance does that have to do with us? Because I feel like that symbolizes something like with their rulership over us.
Okay, so it's different cultures. Like for instance, over here, the staff is not our culture.
Okay.
Our culture is matriarchal.
Okay.
So we give we use as a token of leadership Big Mama slippers.
Okay.
So we give the women to represent their rulership over the clans is we give them slippers or boots.
Is that why they used to put the baby shoe, dip them in bronze? Do you not remember that? Like when they had a baby shoe, they dip them in bronze as a souvenir?
Right. Those are memorials for the new child.
Okay.
For his first shoes are supposed to be kept by the child for his lifetime.
Okay.
Right, because it's supposed to be the symbol of his first steps.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
The moccasins is like in the, let's say you in Tonga or Samoa.
Mhm.
Then it would be more like a flip flop sandal, Big Mama sandal. Right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: in New Orleans, the Big Mama used to wear Big Papa shoes.
Yeah.
Yep. So we used to say Big Mama got on man shoes when she was coming. That's how we used to tell each other. Big Mama got on man shoes. That means Big Mama coming to whoop somebody's ass. Somebody done something.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same as Hatshepsut wore a beard.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
Okay. Ooh. Well, I'm not gonna hold you. I know other people want to come on. I appreciate you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. I'm about to wrap this one up. This is getting kind of long. I don't want it to be too long where people don't watch the replay.
I know that's right. Listen, it's all coming to a head, like you said.
Yeah.
Hashtag free Larry Hoover. Hashtag free the land. Look.
So bring back the matriarch.
Yes. Oh, it's coming. I can feel it. It's something in the air and it's changing. So it's definitely here.
Okay. I'm going to talk back to you later.
Sure enough.
All right.
Out.
Okay, let me see if I can answer a couple questions out of here. A lot of people will be a chief and don't know it because they don't know their culture. When you don't know your culture, you won't know nothing. You can't argue with them about their legal fictions because all of it false. I already talked about Putin at the beginning of the video. You must have came late. How do you find out what your job is and how do you tap into your past life? Your job is what you already like to do that nobody had to tell you to do it. I showed some books earlier. I don't know. I'm going to see if that video saved into the archive. I'm going to post it if it did. But I'm not going to give out any more books, but I'm going to tell you the name of the authors. C.L.R. James was the author of what we call modern day communism. Karl Marx, the Communist Manifesto. This is information we went over earlier. I'm just going back over some of the books. So the writings of Leon Trotsky, the biography of Vladimir Lenin. We also did Joseph Stalin. There's some good biographies on him. And you get to understand the way that the Russian people are. You understand that most of us over here don't know. They call the niggas of Europe. That's what they call Russians over there, the niggas of Europe. And then you got what you call white niggas. Those are Irish. The Irish and the Scots are called white niggas in Europe. So just so y'all know what's going on in the world. And that shit over there is just cleanup. Don't fall for the war cry of the tyrant trying to survive. That shit over with. We not finna get into that shit. Don't got nothing to do with us. Just like they had nothing to do with us going into Iraq or Afghanistan. And America went into Iraq twice, and we ain't had nothing to do with that shit. That was some George Bush personal vendetta shit, trying to clean up his CIA fuck ups, right? Because he put Saddam in power and he put Bin Laden in power. And they always under the impression that if they put you in power, they can take you out. So that's the position on that. So I don't have no more books I'm gonna refer y'all to, but do a comparative analysis on the photographs of Karl Marx and Frederick Douglass, and a comparative analysis of Vladimir Lenin and W.E.B. Du Bois, or Du Bois, whichever one you want to pronounce. And that'll be enough study material to get y'all through a couple of months if you really wanted to get into it like I was. So with that, I'm going to cut this one off here, fam. Keep up the good work. We on our way up out this bitch. It's coming. We just don't know the day or the hour, but it's coming. March 16, Blue Out Wednesday. Post hashtag Free Larry Hoover. Blue Heart Backgrounds. Nipsey Blue. That's a West Coast Midwest knock to a knockback on a turnaround off of a false arrest to a liberation of the leaders. So let's get it, people.